Good evening, everybody. Hope we are all good. And welcome to tonight's webinar, Understanding and Supporting ADHD in Children at School and at Home with the amazing Kelly Jarvis. My name's Kat, and I'm your host this evening. So just before we get started, I'll go through some very quick housekeeping. So this is an interactive workshop. Please join our discussion on the chat and just make sure it's set to everybody unless you're messaging me or Kelly or the Sunshine Elves directly. This is just to keep the chat going. And if you're asking questions, please use the Q&A facility. If you can't find that, just pop it into the chat and we'll direct you to it. We do aim to answer everyone's questions, but we cannot guarantee this, of course, because it's quite busy. You can always contact us afterwards if you have any outstanding questions. Tonight's workshop will last approximately 2 hours, and please respect others' privacy and don't share what you see, so please don't screenshot or record. Please do not verbally attack or name any professionals, and let us know what you think in the survey at the end. So who is Sunshine Support? We were founded in October 2017 after our founder's own traumatic experience. We're a team of SEND professionals who also have the all-important lived experience. We're an award-winning independent SEND organisation in the UK, and we support parents, carers and professionals responsible for children and young adults and young people with SEND through a wide range of services to ultimately provide what we would have needed at the start of our own personal journeys. There's loads of help and support on offer for you. I won't go through this full list, but you can find all of the information on our website, which is www.sunshine-support.org. So if you do need us, get in touch. You can also find us on social media. So that's the end of my part. I will stop sharing my slides and hand over to Kelly.
Hi, thank you, Kat. That was a great introduction. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, thank you. Very, very good.
Good. I'm really looking forward to this webinar. It's one of my favorite ones that I do for Sunshine. It always creates a very lively chat room as well, which I really like. Before we get going, Kat mentioned there's a survey at the end. Now, the last time I did this ADHD webinar last year, one of the pieces of feedback, because we do actually really pay attention to the feedback and try and use it to make webinars better. One of the useful pieces of feedback that we received was that actually quite a number of adults watching on behalf of their youngsters also have ADHD or suspect that they might. And they found that the 2-hour webinar was pretty long to sit. So rather than do, say, one break in the middle, what I might try and do is split up the 2 hours with a few more breaks, but shorter ones. And then that way everyone can have a little bit of a chance to move around, get a new drink, stand up, stretch legs, that sort of thing. Because otherwise it can be, a very long time to sit and listen without moving around. So just to let everyone know, I will do that. If I forget to do it, please just poke me, Kat, write to me in the chat or something. Kelly, you've gone on for too long. And I will do my best to remember. Because I do talk a lot. That is it. You will find this. If you've never watched a webinar with me before, I talk a lot and my cats start climbing all over my head. So just give it a while before that starts happening. So welcome everyone to this webinar on identifying, diagnosing, understanding and supporting children with ADHD. So my name is Kelly Jarvis. I am the head of advocacy and consultancy here at Sunshine Support. That basically means that I do lots and lots of work with families. So I support families with things like identifying what might be going on, what problems might be having in families who might be right at the beginning of their SEND journeys, right the way through to supporting with education healthcare plan applications, supporting with schools, talking to schools about reasonable adjustments and various things like that, right up to tribunals. So I help families who might be in tribunal for their EHCP or a lack thereof, or the the updates to their EHCP haven't gone as we wanted, or perhaps the wrong school has been named. So I do all of that as in my day-to-day work, and I also manage the team of advocates too. My past life, though, I was a head of an independent special school. So we were a residential and day provision. The residential part of it was actually a children's home. So that was open 52 weeks of the school year. And the bit where I was head was the school bit. So we were a 38-week school. And we had children from the children's home that was on site. So you'd literally walk out of your bedroom door and into school within about 10 seconds. It was brilliant for children who found transitions really hard. But also we had day pupils as well who came to us, and our pupils had a primary diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, sometimes with additional sort of descriptors like pathological demand avoidance, etc. And many of our pupils, well over 60%, also had a diagnosis of ADHD. So I was responsible for designing the curriculum and helping these young people come back into a school environment, because our school was very specialist and it was quite difficult to get into. So a number of my pupils hadn't actually been at school for quite a considerable amount of time, or had been really failed by the education system. So it was my job to try and design a curriculum that was engaging to sort of come back into and thrive on. And I like to hope that that's what we achieved when I was there. And then I went and had two babies in 2.5 years in the middle of COVID, and here I am now. So yeah, crazy. So hopefully today you'll find this webinar really useful. We're going to do a brief overview of ADHD. So we're going to be talking about the different types of ADHD, how it presents, what the signs might be. We'll talk a little about some of the stereotypes of ADHD as well. There's been a bit of a timeline of ADHD. A lot of the old-fashioned school of thought thinks it's a new thing. It's been very much in the news recently, where celebrities that I will not name have made some statements about how ADHD is caused by food or screens. And we know, if we have neurodivergent youngsters, that food and screens can be the two things in life where actually that young person really needs a little bit more control and a little bit more different. So for parents to then be told, well, you know, the screens and the food have made your children this way, really, really quite awful for families to have gone through. So ADHD is not a new thing. It's not caused by screens. It's not caused by food. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about ADHD perhaps being missed. So gender differences, really, really big as a topic within the world of ADHD at the moment. We'll do a little bit on masking and a lack of understanding. One of the things that I encounter most when I'm helping families talk to schools and to Senkos, and I've just seen a Q&A question pop up about Senkos, which I will definitely come to. One of the big things that I come up against, I guess, is schools who find it very, very hard to understand how a pupil might have ADHD if they appear to be fine or don't exhibit the symptoms which are stereotypically associated with ADHD. Well, they're not running around the classroom. They're not, poking other children in the side of the head. They can't have ADHD. Well, actually, they can. So how do we talk to schools about that? We're going to be talking about the impacts these characteristics have on a day-to-day basis. I think, again, there's quite a negative stereotype of ADHD. And I aim in educating, on webinars like this, but also I do a lot of training with schools too. I try to spend a lot of time and energy educating that actually ADHD can bring with it such incredible, unique skills, talents. I was having a conversation with Chrissa, our founder of Sunshine Support, the other day, and she said to me something. I thought, yes, I must say this in the webinar. She said name an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, who doesn't either have ADHD or have ADHD traits. I thought, gosh, actually, that is a really good point, because some of the most creative thinkers are people who have ADHD. And we'll be talking about how to support ADHD in school, including breaks and lunches, because that's a big flashpoint. And also at home. And like I said, everyone presents differently, but I'm hoping if my one goal by the end of this evening is that if you can go away with at least 2 or 3 practical tools, as well as a really deep sense of I don't know, empowerment and validation, and the fact that you're not alone trying to help your youngster to have a better experience of school and of life in general. You're not alone, and the worries you do have are absolutely valid. That's what I want you to go away with this evening, that sense of feeling, and some actual practical tools that you can apply going forward.